Yeah, what's the word? Leroy, what's the word? Leroy, hey, what's the word? Leroy, what's the word? Leroy, hey.
Let's talk about something that impacts every classroom every single day. Lesson pacing. Because here's the truth. You can have a great lesson plan, strong content, clear objectives. But if the pacing is off, learning suffers. And pacing is one of those things that's easy to overlook. But you feel it immediately. You've seen it before. A lesson moving too fast. Students are confused. Hands stop going up. Some students check out because they're lost. Others pretend to understand just to keep up. Or the opposite. A lesson moving too slow. Students are bored. They've already mastered the concept. They start talking, disengaging, looking around. Now you're managing behavior instead of teaching. Both of these, rushing and dragging, kill learning. So the real question becomes, how do we find the sweet spot? Let's break it down. First, let's talk about rushing. Rushing usually comes from pressure. Pressure to get through the lesson. Pressure to cover all the content. Pressure from pacing guides, testing, or time constraints. So what happens? We move on before students are ready. Let me give you a real scenario. You're teaching a math concept. You model it once. Ask, any questions? No hands go up. So you move on. But here's what we know. No hands does not mean no confusion. It often means, I don't even know what to ask. Now students are practicing something they don't fully understand. Mistakes increase, frustration builds, confidence drops. That's what rushing does. Now let's talk about dragging. Dragging often comes from over-explaining, repeating the same thing multiple times, staying on one concept too long, not adjusting when students are ready to move on. Here's a scenario. You're teaching a concept. Most students get it quickly, but you continue explaining for another 10 minutes. Just to make sure. Now your advanced students are done. They're bored, they're disengaged. They start becoming off task, and now the classroom energy drops. That's what dragging does. So where's the balance? The sweet spot is not about perfect timing. It's about responsiveness. Pacing is not just about how fast you move. It's about how well you adjust. Great teachers are constantly reading the room. Let me say that again. Great teachers are constantly reading the room. They're watching faces. They're listening to responses. They're noticing who's engaged and who's not. And they adjust in real time. Let's talk about how to actually do this. First, build in quick checks for understanding. Not just, does that make sense? But real checks. Turn and talk. Explain the concept to your partner. Write a quick response. Show me with your fingers. 1 to 5. Where are you? Now you have data. Now you know if you can move on or need to slow down. Second, chunk your lesson. Don't teach everything at once. Break it into smaller parts. Teach, check, adjust, then move on. This keeps students engaged and prevents both rushing and dragging. Third, plan for differentiation in pacing. Not all students learn at the same speed, and that's okay. Have extension opportunities ready. If students finish early, give them something meaningful, not just busy work, for students who need more time. Provide support, small group, additional modeling, guided practice. Now everyone is moving forward at a pace that works for them. Fourth, watch your teacher talk time. This is a big one. If you're talking for most of the lesson, chances are pacing is off. Students need to be doing the thinking, talking, writing, explaining. The more they're engaged, the easier it is to maintain strong pacing. Now let's bring in leadership, because as leaders, we need to be looking for this. When we walk into classrooms, we shouldn't just be asking, is the lesson happening? We should be asking, what's the pace of learning right now? Are students actively engaged? Are they confused? Are they waiting? Are they challenged? And here's the key. Pacing is not about speed. It's about engagement and understanding. Let's be real again. You can have a quiet classroom that looks on task, but learning is not happening. Or you can have an active classroom with discussion, movement, energy, and learning is thriving. That's the difference. Let's go back to the core idea. Rushing creates confusion. Dragging creates disengagement. But responsive pacing creates learning. So here's the question to reflect on. In your classroom or in the classrooms you support, are we moving with students or are we moving past them? Because that answer tells you everything about your pacing. At the end of the day, the goal is not to get through the lesson. The goal is for students to get through the learning. And when we find that sweet spot where students are challenged, supported, and engaged, that's where real learning happens.
Yeah, what's the word, Leroy? What's the word, Leroy? Hey, what's the word, Leroy? What's the word, Leroy? Hey.